Hey guys, welcome to my new series called Part of My World, where each episode we will dive into a new Disney movie. Each episode has 3 chapters, so to speak. In the first chapter, we will dive into a recap of the Disney movie, so if you haven't seen it for a while, it will be fresh in your memory. Then in the same chapter, we will also discuss the difference between the fairy tale and the Disney movie. So how well was the adaptation from the fairy tale to the movie? In the second chapter, we will talk about a nice trivia about the making of the movie, animation, dubbing, music, etc., etc. And in the last chapter, I will give you my honest opinion about the movie and why I like it or why I don't like it. So without further ado, let's get started. At the beginning of the Disney movie, we see the evil queen, Snow White's wicked stepmother, step in front of a magic mirror, and she asks the mirror if she is still the most beautiful one in the land. The mirror says that, in fact, the queen is still beautiful, but there's one person much more beautiful than her. The queen looks in horror at the camera and exclaims, "Snow White," and we see a change of scenery, and we see Snow White humming and cleaning and wishing in a wishing well. It's there when she meets the prince. He starts to sing, she runs away, which is a classical reaction of seeing a man in tights, if you ask me. The evil queen asks the huntsman to kill Snow White and bring back her heart. The huntsman is a kind man and he is unable to do so, and so he tells Snow White to run away and never come back. So she runs away once again, and it's here when we get one of the most scarier scenes of the movie, which is that of the haunted forest. So Snow White is really scared, falls on the floor, crying, is really in distress, and it's there. Some animal friends help her. They get up, bring her to a small cottage, and it's here when she thinks, because everything is small, that it's owned by little children without a father or mother. She sees everything is dirty and she starts to clean while singing a song, and I wish cleaning gave me so much joy. So after she has cleaned the whole cottage, she is tired and she falls asleep on the children's beds. It's here when the 7 dwarfs come home. We already know this belongs to the 7 dwarfs, and they come home and they discover Snow White, which they think is some kind of monster. It's here when Snow White wakes up. She cooked some soup for the dwarves, which they are only allowed to eat if they take a bath, which they haven't done in quite a while. Dirty little fellers. And meanwhile, we see that the queen finds out that Snow White isn't dead, and she disguises herself as an old peddler woman. This character is mostly known as the Hag. The same evening, we see that the dwarves and Snow White have lots of fun singing this silly song together. And the next day, the dwarves go back to work in the mines. They warn Snow White to watch out for the evil queen, and then they go. After that, of course, the evil queen in disguise comes to the cottage, and it's here the animals know something's wrong and they go to warn the dwarves. And Snow White eats the poisonous apple. The dwarves arrive to see the Hag flee, and they go after her. The queen dies by falling off a large rock. The dwarves cannot bury Snow White because she is so beautiful, so they put her in a glass coffin. The prince finds her again, kisses her, and the curse is lifted. And that's when the prince takes Snow White to his castle, and they live happily ever after. In my opinion, Walt did a pretty good job in telling the story, how it's been written. However, there were 3 big differences, especially at the end, which I wanted to discuss here. So, in the original fairy tale, the evil queen in disguise does not visit Snow White 1 time, but 3 times, actually. So, the first time, she goes in disguise to Snow White, and she sells her a corset. And this corset she ties on so tight that Snow White can't breathe, and she faints. in the evening, the dwarfs come back from work in the mines and they find her, and they untie the corset so Snow White is able to breathe and lives another day. The second day, the queen visits Snow White in a different disguise this time, and she sells her a poisonous comb. It's poisonous, so she puts it in Snow White's hair and the poison drips into her skull and she faints once again. The dwarfs find her and they take the comb out of her hair, so Snow White is safe. Then the third time, it's when the queen, again in a different disguise, comes to Snow White and has the poisonous apple. It's then like 3 times the charm. Snow White bites in the apple. You would have think that Snow White by now, not to trust these old ladies anymore, but yeah, no, she takes a bite of the apple and she faints. And this time the dwarves come back and they can't find anything to help her out. And it's then they build a glass coffin and put her in there. So the second big difference is when the prince finds Snow White, he doesn't kiss her, but he takes her away in a glass coffin to his castle. You would think, why the hell does a prince, why does he need a dead girl? Yeah, you think the same and it's gross. However, a bump in the road makes Snow spit out a chunk of apple that was in her throat, and she wakes up and the Dirty Harry, prince, marries her. So the last change of the fairy tale to the movie is how the evil queen dies. So in the movie she falls off a rock, right? And the impact kills her. However, her death in the original fairy tale is much more brutal. So the queen survives the whole ordeal with the poisonous apple, but is invited to the wedding of Snow White and the prince. All these characters in this fairy tale are pretty clueless, because you might think it wouldn't be a good idea to visit the wedding of your stepdaughter who you basically abused all of her life. But no, the queen goes to the wedding. There she is forced to wear hot iron shoes, and she has to dance in shoes until she dances herself to death. As you can see, it weren't changing that altered the story massively, although it would have been cool to let the queen die while she dances in hot iron shoes. I don't think it's that suitable for a children's movie, so all the alterations they made make sense to me. So let's get started on chapter 2, which is trivia time. I chose trivia I really liked. There are lots of more trivia, and I really recommend you look them up because they're really interesting. But here are some trivia I found the most interesting. So, Walt Disney wanted to make the movie ever since 1917, when he saw a silent movie about the fairy tale. The movie became known as Disney's Folly due to expensive production of $1.5 million, and people who thought it would be a gigantic flop. And $1.5 million was a lot of money in that time to make a movie. Now, it's not strange to spend like $5 million on a movie, but in that time, $1.5 million was a lot of money. And even Walt's own wife believed the movie to be a flop. And it must be nice when your own wife doesn't believe in you, right? So when the movie got released, it became a huge success right away, and it was even praised by Russian director Sergei Eisenstein, claiming it's the greatest movie ever made. Real makeup was used in the cells, like the transparent paper they used to animate by hand. They used those transparent papers called cells. And the blush that was used on Snow White was real makeup to make her look more real because of her rosy red cheeks. They used real animals in the studio as an example to animate, and Snow White is not the only Disney movie they did this with. Bambi is another example, but we will discuss that when we get to the Bambi episode. Snow White is one of the few Disney movies / character with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Other examples are Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh. Lucille Laverne, who did the voice of the evil queen and the hag, she removed her false teeth so she could provide the old raspy sound of the hag. It is sad that she wasn't able to do the sound, and she came out of the studio and they said they needed a different voice for the hag because she was simply not able to do it. So then she came back in the studio and did a perfect hag's voice, and when she came back out, the producers asked her, like, huh? How did you do that? And she simply explained by saying, oh, I just took my teeth out. So 25 different songs were written originally for the movie, but only 8 songs made it in. Like, one of the unused songs was Music in My Soup.
With a spoon, with a bowl, with the music in your soul, you can cheer things up with the zup, zup, zup.
Snow White was the first movie with a soundtrack. Walt Disney wanted to keep Snow White's voice as a special one-time thing, so he kept Adriana Caselotti, the voice of Snow White, on a strict contract, and she never had a singing role in any movie ever again, even though she was a classical trained singer. So to keep the animators' minds working, Walt Disney instituted his $5 a gag policy. And one notable example of his policy was when Ward Kimball suggested that the dwarfs' nose should pop up on the bats when they meet Snow White for the first time. The movie held the title for highest grossing movie for a year, and Snow White was actually knocked out of the top spot by Gone with the Wind. The same Ward Kimball we just spoke about nearly quit his job after the 2 main sequences he was working on, like the dwarfs eating the soup and building a bat for Snow White, respectively, were cut. Walt Disney convinced him to stay by giving him the character of Jiminy Cricket in the next feature, Pinocchio, which will also be talked about when I do my episode about Pinocchio. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs became the first release in Disney's new Platinum Edition DVD sets, hitting stores on October 5, 2001, and on its first day, more than 1 million copies were sold. The music came from Frank Churchill, Lee Harline, and Paul Smith. The running time of the movie is 83 minutes. There was just a few trivia of the movie, and I wish I could include all, but there's so much known about this movie, and you should definitely look it up. So chapter 3, my opinion. I don't want to take hours talking about my opinion, because most people are probably not that interested in it, but I will keep it as short as possible. But Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is a movie I got a new appreciation for after watching it again after a long time. I didn't know the humor and the jokes were so on point in this movie, and that's hard considering the movie is 82 years old. So, it's great, and the animation is classically gorgeous. The use of color is hard to miss. The contrasts of different scenes are very good, like light and happy when you're with Snow and the dwarves, and then dark and moody when you're with the evil queen and her disguised the hag. And the movie can be quite dark and scary. As a little kid, the scene in the woods and the hag really scared me. Like, couldn't watch it and not have nightmares, Now I think it's simply well done. She's one of the most iconic Disney villains ever, and not just because she's the first. Snow White truly is just a timeless classic. Sure, Snow White, is maybe a bit passive compared to movie heroines we know now, but the girl was 14 and it was a different time, and it doesn't really bother me anyway. So, and the music makes me really happy. Churchill, Harline, and Smith did a remarkable job with it. and it's still a movie I really love to watch, even though it's 82 years old. How crazy is that? I thank you very much for watching the first episode of Part of My World. I haven't made a decision yet of which movie I'm going to cover next. So put your ideas in the comments. Like, do we just follow the classic movie lines and we do Pinocchio next? Or do you want to see something completely else? It's just comment, please. Take it to the comments. Only Disney classics for now, by the way. Don't forget to like the video if you like what I did here. If you want to see more of this and more content I make, then please don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell if you want to see when I upload. I hope to see you guys at the next Part of My World and other videos. Stay healthy, stay safe, and see you guys soon at Part of My World. Bye bye.